AI integration. So we've seen good things happening in the rest of the world, except for Africa. And the question we ask ourselves is, where are we in terms of technology transformation? We have opportunity to transform our country in terms of technology space. If you look at the market, we have now AFCFTAs, which is a trade agreement that has been signed between African countries, presenting as an opportunity to access the African markets, and also to trade amongst ourselves. The question is technology also aligning with these opportunities for trading? Nothing is lost. If you look at the transformation that already, as an example that we've had, giving an example of the global outlook, Kenya has played a critical role in transformation. We've seen what M-Pesa has done. We've seen government moving to e-government services, which is a plus for the country. However, there are a bit of a gap that we need to address from the manufacturing sector. And it's an opportunity having this conversation to address some of those challenges. So I'll speak broadly in terms of what CAM has done in digitizing industries. So in the policy space, one is in the policy space, we've worked with government and development partners to craft policies that support digital transformation of industries, including creating what I call a 10-point digital policy framework with ODI. We've done capacity building for the manufacturing sector through our manufacturing academy, and we have trained over 7,000 professionals in lean manufacturing, smart factory system, energy efficiency, and digital tools integration. On enterprise support, we have piloted digitization readiness assessment for SMEs and supported tech adoption in sectors such as automotive, garments, and food processing, which is one of the key sectors in the manufacturing. However, transformation has not been a straightforward journey. This journey has had its own tensions, demands, and quite decisions from leaders that needs to be taken. The reality in the ground is that our workforce is truly not ready. So we are ready for Industry 4.0. Not all of us are ready. Not all industries are ready. In fact, in terms of the assessment, despite over 95% of the firms having access to internet, only less than 25% of the SMEs use cloud computing, and less than half have IT policies, and digital influence is still limited amongst SMEs. If you look at our membership, 65% of our members are classified to be SMEs, having a turnover in terms of industry of below 250 million. But in terms of digitization and having quite policies, IT policies, less than 25% would say are aligned. So we need to do a lot of work in terms of transformation of our SME, in terms of having them have this knowledge on IT systems and how they can transform their industries into smart industries. So there is opportunity. Having 25% less not compliant shows there is opportunity. We also need to improve our technical vocation and education system and to make it more agile. When the young people are coming into most of the factories, they need to have this knowledge of data, IT, and AI in order for us to be at par with the global transformation factories. Are digital investments paying off? It's another question most people may ask. The answer is yes, they are paying off. Many firms have made bold steps in terms of implementing ERP systems, smart sensors, robotics, but production gains are mixed depending on which sector that you come from. Because digital tools without digital culture are like putting a jet engine in a donkey cart. So we are transforming our factory, but we are not transforming our culture. We are not transforming our people. So we need to have this done in tandem. We transform our culture and also we transform technology. So they go hand in hand like other global companies or industries have already done. How do we lead through transition without breaking the system? Many members or many factories have asked this hard question. It requires us to balance between lean operations with future readiness, to be prudent with capital, yet courageous with innovation, to automate without destroying jobs. Most of the fear that we have is if we allow technology, then we are going to lose jobs. Then we need to demystify this conversation. We need to demystify this perception that has been created, negating the opportunity that we have to transform our industries through technology and through AI. Lastly, I will speak about some of the gaps that we have noted in terms of going smart manufacturing based on the conversation we've had with our members. One of them is the cost of capital. There is an assumption that investing in digital transformation is very costly. But however, the return needs to be quantified for most of the people so that they understand the return of the investment is worthwhile. The other challenges in terms of what is affecting people into transforming is unreliable energy. Energy supply is crucial for digitization, and the cost of it is also crucial. So that's one area that we continue to lobby with the government. The third item is around the digital infrastructure. If you compare the African countries, it's only Ghana and Ethiopia are leading in terms of the digital infrastructure. Internet tariff is still very high in Kenya compared to our other counterparts. So these are conversations that we need to have. The last item is the skill gaps. We need to have a conversation with our university, with our technical vocational education platforms to see how we can industrialize and change our syllabus typically to be more digitally focused education system and training. So these gaps also have an opportunity. So the opportunity we see is investment in the digital infrastructure. We see an opportunity in rebooting the skills pipeline that we have. We have very young people who are skilled, and we've seen some technical institutions that have come in that are promoting data science, software engineering. We need to have more of this, and also with a key focus on the manufacturing sector. We need to support the innovation ecosystem within different sectors. And then we need to provide appropriate linkage within this different sector. For example, the manufacturing sector needs to quite align with the technology sector and see how we can all work together to support the country and the growth of the manufacturing sector. We need to embed digital policy into industrial policy and recognize that digital economy is no longer a side issue. This is a conversation that advocates for fully integrated digital industrial policy, one that positions technology and not as an add-on, but as an engine of competitiveness. Because where we sit, we are competing with our counterpart in the region. Egypt is doing well, South Africa is doing well. So Kenya needs not to be left behind in terms of our digital policy transformation and changes. As I end, I would like to emphasize that we are not here simply to survive this revolution. We are here to lead it, and Africa can make a difference. The fourth industrial revolution, like its predecessor, will displace some jobs, but will also create many jobs. jobs in coding, cybersecurity, in smart logistics and machine repair, in data analytics, and in digital compliance. So the perception that when we embrace digitization, we are losing jobs, this needs to be demystified, and all need to embrace technology. Manufacturing sector is ripe for transformation, and we look forward to working with the techie and the digital teams around the country and around the world to make this different and to create future jobs for the economy. I thank you.
Please welcome CEO and founder .Savvy, Moses Kemibaro.
So good morning and welcome to our session today, where we're going to have this very exciting discussion panel on whether AI will replace the industrial worker or actually make them smarter. My name is Moses Kemibaro. I'm the founder and CEO of .Savvy, and I'm here with my panelists who I'll introduce shortly. So I'm very pleased to moderate this critical panel at the Smart Industry Forum 2025, the premier event for senior technology and business leaders in Africa's manufacturing, logistics, warehousing, and supply chain sectors. Our panel is titled, Will AI Replace the Industrial Worker or make them smarter, and if it could be also more timely. As Industry 4.0 technologies continue to redefine global manufacturing, from artificial intelligence to the Internet of Things and blockchain, Africa's industrial sector is entering a pivotal stage. The continent is poised for industrial resurgence. In fact, estimates suggest that Africa's manufacturing sector could reach a value of 666 billion by 2030. But alongside this growth comes a key question. What happens to the industrial workforce? Will AI displace workers and deepen inequality, or will it unlock a new era of collaboration between humans and machines that is safer, more efficient, and more inclusive? So over the next 40 minutes, we'll explore how AI is already being used by African manufacturing settings, whether our workforces are ready for this shift, and how business leaders can lead a responsible, future-ready transformation. And to do this, I'm joined by three highly experienced industrial professionals who are driving this transformation from the inside out, and let's meet them. Joining us remotely from this session is Joan Ambutu, the IDT Corporate Portfolio Lead, SSA at British American Tobacco, or BAT. Joan leads the BAT's digital transformation and analytics strategy for Sub-Saharan Africa. She's focused on deploying AI and intelligent automation to streamline business operations and drive measurable value in highly regulated environments. Also joining us, we have Dennis Kinyua, the Manager for Innovation and Digital Transformation at Car & General. Dennis leads innovation and digital transformation across Car & General's operations in East Africa. And also he leverages IoT to cloud computing to enhance operational efficiency, decision-making, and customer outcomes. He's also focused on aligning technology with business strategy. And last, we have Victoria Munini, the head of ICT at Kairana Estates. Victoria is a future-ready IT leader with expertise in enterprise transformation, cybersecurity, and smart manufacturing. At Kairana, she's been applying AI, IoT, and data-driven systems to modernize factory and agribusiness processes at scale. So thank you so much for joining us. And we'll get started. And actually, we'll start off with you, Joanne. Would like to know, in the area of sort of looking at how AI is being applied in a practical and sort of pragmatic way, looking at what you're doing within BAT and from your perspective, how is AI transforming roles in your manufacturing and logistics environments, and what business value is being created?
Okay, thank you, everybody. First of all, just to thank the CIO for inviting me for this forum. I could not be able to join it physically, but I'm happy to be here. So I think as part of our digital transformation, so BAT has been strategically investing in AI technologies. The main purpose has been to drive operational excellence and efficiencies, enhance agility, and of course, create a more intelligent and supply chain. So one of the things that we have implemented very quickly is data analytics to streamline our reporting and to implement apps in the supply chain and warehousing to enhance planning, shipments, materials, inventory. And this enables us to get real-time visibility of the data, of the information that we need to use for faster decision-making. So in terms of AI has been simplified, yeah? We are not at the space of robotics yet. We are still at data analytics, making sure that we are using RPA in terms of the automating manual tasks. And the people managing these roles have been trained and reskilled, yeah, to use these tools. And we've seen that it has actually improved their productivity. And we have been able to attract young workers into the manufacturing space, especially the engineers, like the graduate engineers or the apprentices coming in from the government colleges that train them on the wiring, electricals. And we've been able to see they're so excited to work with smart systems, yeah? It's not just an issue of working with old machines. So the business value has been really great. We have saved on hours when it comes to spending manual tasks. We've reduced that. They've become more efficient. It has actually also improved controls. So remember, as you automate, you're able to close some loops that can lead to stock inventory loss or loss of time. So we are also finding in our logistics, we are going faster to market because we're using technology to plan the route, dynamic routing, know where to supply to which distributor first, or make sure there's not out of stock. So AI has really changed how we're operating, and the employees are also seeing it as a business value add, and the organization in general. So it's not a threat, it's actually an opportunity for us. It's been a journey of the last 4-5 years to get us to start using AI. We started with the reporting, and now we are going into making sure that we are even considering putting sensors in our machines. Yeah. So these are opportunities that we see can lead even to employees having excitement working in the workplace. It can reduce stress, and safe conditions happening because it's safer when you're monitoring some of these metrics. And we've seen that its overall well-being of the employees is going up when we use technology in the factory.
Well, thank you so much, John, for sharing that with us. And I think it's wonderful to hear that BAT is able to use AI right here on the continent in so many different ways across how you deliver your products and services to the marketplace. I'll come to you, Dennis. Thank you so much for joining us. So looking at KA in general, what specific AI and digital innovation initiatives have you implemented recently, and how are they changing the way you run your operations, particularly around manufacturing or supply chain optimization?
Okay. Thank you so much, Moses, and I'd like to thank you, the organizers, for having me here. Okay, I'm here on behalf of my boss, Mr. Gilbert, who could not be able to join. So thank you for the question. And how have we adapted AI at KA in general? First of all, we have started by laying the foundation right. We cannot just jump into AI without getting the foundation. And this is the automation of processes. After our processes are automated, we ensure we bring a data-driven culture. Because now, by automating processes, having proper systems, we are able to get proper data. Now, using this data, we get into the next phase. This is now how do we adapt AI? And we have started it in a phased way. So first of all, we have started by having AI to our sales team. Like when a sales person goes to the field, a customer asks for a product, they're able to give the right product. This one, it's why AI comes. AI is able to get data and do a contextual analysis of what the customer needs, and is able to recommend the right product for this customer. So then, we have also gotten it internally. We have, in our internal processes, we have started using AI. This is in the IT processes, like training of users. We are now able to, our users are able to use the Gen AI to get any policy document, any IT policies, and also as we continue like that in the supply chain. Kai in general is mostly a distributor of products or equipment in the country. And some of our equipment manufacturers, the original equipment manufacturers, they have started adopting AI in their manufacturing plants, which now we are leveraging on them, what they are doing. We're able to also adapt on our side.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Victoria, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Moses.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Moses. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining us. So you're working within an agribusiness, which historically is seen as very traditional. And I'm wondering, when it comes to Kairana, how are you leveraging AI and IoT to enhance productivity, to optimize quality control, or even manage risk in your manufacturing processes?
Thank you very much, Moses, and thank you very much for the organizers for having me here. So it's true, agribusiness is quite traditional, and it's mostly on experience based. So decisions are made using experience, what we've been through and what has been happening in the past for us to be able to determine the future. And this is usually based on the feelings of an individual, on the intuition of an individual. But over time, we are now in the manufacturing side, we are now adapting AI and using AI to run our operation and leveraging on data. So the biggest questions we keep asking ourselves is the data we have and what data can do for us. How much smarter can data make us, and how much smarter can our decisions be while using data? So we have, our integration has been quite deliberate. We are not jumping onto all the trends. We are not making the integration flashy. We are doing it in steps and looking at instances whereby it's very important for us to utilize data to make decisions. Like, for example, in predictive analytics. So we are able to look at customer trends and look at our manufacture process and be able to now schedule our manufacturing process to ensure that we manage our inventory properly and we are not overproducing or underproducing for what the customers need in the market. This helps us to have a very efficient production process, maximize on the resources we have, ensure that we do not have wastage in the production chain, and eventually it gives us quite, it makes it quite, it makes the process quite effective, and even as we are getting out our products into the market, in terms of also efficiency in the production process and looking at things like predictive maintenance, so that we don't have machines failing when they shouldn't be failing, when it's very paramount for them to be working, and we are able to anticipate when it's necessary for us to actually manage and maintain these machines in the production chain. The other thing, as for IoT, we are just in the exploration stage. We are looking at POCs and also looking at ways in how we can be able to integrate this into our operations, especially the sensors based in helping our controlled environment, like the processing stages condition, like withering, sorting of tea, which is very delicate. And for us to achieve the quality we want to achieve with the end product, these conditions have to be set to a particular situation, a particular set, and it's very possible for human error. And if we're able to utilize sensors to be able to have these conditions set to the optimum figures that we need for operation, then we'll be able to have a better quality in the end product. So for us, it has been a slow process. We are learning. At the same time, we are doing POCs, at the same time we're experimenting, at the same time we're still implementing. So we don't want to make the process quite flashy for us. We want to make the implementation to be scalable, at least to integrate future AI solutions, and also to be quite impactful in the long run.
Yeah, I think there's something really interesting I'm hearing you say, because when I listen to John's perspective from BAT, it seems like really they're far ahead, possibly because they're part of a global business and maybe some of those practices are being brought here. But it sounds to me that the big difference in your case is you're having to experiment and learn as you go along. Is that correct?
Yes, because agribusiness and manufacturing has quite different aspects in the business. So it has not, the adoption of AI and technology in the agribusiness manufacturing sector has been quite slow.
Okay.
Like I said, this is a traditional business, and most of the things that are done there is based on experience and lived experience, actually. So it's how we've done it in the past, having done this for quite a number of years, but now we want to change it and integrate technology. So it's quite experimental in that we have, for example, when you're looking at the quality of tea, it's about looking at a leaf. It's not about moisture content, it's not about the width of the leaf, it's not about...
It's a visual process.
It's a visual process. So you see, for such a process, we'd have to integrate cameras, and these cameras now have to learn to what to see, what to expect, so that they can say this leaf actually meets the quality. So it's a lot of experimentation, at the same time learning, at the same time exploring, as we implement and now building foundations that are going to be scalable in the future. But for now, the agriculture aspect of it, like technology to monitor the weather condition, technology, like for example, for fertilizer application, we need to have the moisture content at a certain level, or the rainfall has to be at a certain cc. So there are solutions to measure that. But now for other aspect of the process, we don't have that. So it's more experimental as we go, and as we learn as we go, because the quality of leaf, when you're picking leaf and when you're looking to develop, to manufacture the best quality at the end of it, we're talking about 2 leaves and a bud. But this 2 leaves and a bud is what I see. It's not the width of the leaf, it's not the thickness of the leaf, it's what I see and how I envision that leaf to be quality.
So then you have to train the models and
so we
forth
have
to
to
understand that.
Yes, we need to train the models to understand that what you see, when you see this particular, it means this leaf has quality. When you see this particular leaf, it means this leaf has quality. So it's a lot of training, learning, experimenting, failing. We have instances whereby when you're looking at the sorting tray, we need to shake it for the camera to be able to see. But you find that when you shake it, you're not able to shake what is at the bottom and what is at the top at the same time. So it's a lot of learning
as you go along.
As we go along.
Okay.
But at the same time, not building for the future, that when we get there, we are able to adopt it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think it's a perfect segue to come back to John over here. And my question to you, John, I think is, in your role supporting the digital portfolios at BAT, how do you ensure that AI-led change doesn't alienate existing employees? And how do you balance technology efficiency with workforce empowerment? And I think this is sort of the crux of the matter. How is AI and technology potentially either enhancing the workforce or potentially could lead to them losing those roles?
Yeah, indeed, for sure. This is a big concern, yeah, and it's becoming more urgent by the day. As AI reshapes the manufacturing landscape, you find people are more concerned about their jobs as we automate all these processes in the factories. So the good news is that my view is, and what I've been selling to the organization, is that technology and people don't have to be in opposition. We really complement each other. In fact, we can actually elevate one another. So it's just driving that culture of upskilling and training to make sure that they know. Because I think when it's mysterious, they get suspicious. So we're just bringing workers into the journey from the start. We try and do a lot of communication sessions. In our town halls, we'll just bring in a snippet of digital transformation and AI, and give examples of what's happening in other parts of the BAT world. So when people understand the why, behind the tech, and their voices are part of this rollout, it's more likely they'll become champions and will join the journey of change. We've been investing in upskilling, as I said, whether it's online training or just making sure that we have roundtable sessions, brainstorming sessions, so that at least they know that they're not being left behind and that we are actually looking for opportunities for them to get even better roles and better jobs. So an annual training, for example, is held for like simple tools like Microsoft Power BI. We'll also do a more advanced one for the IT teams like Azure Machine Learning. We'll make sure that we are, partnering with Microsoft and other organizations to bring these trainings. A lot of the training colleges have free vouchers, so it's just for you to talk to them and they'll get your guys trained, even for free. So we see this as a way of retaining good talent in the organization. We find when you train the employees, especially the Gen Z, who easily get bored if they get into a very mundane routine job, they're so excited to go for forums or trainings and even get projects in this new AI space. So we've used the opportunity actually to involve teams to redefine their roles, to be able to move into new areas, just to reduce the uncertainty. And then it's clear, and it becomes more clear, and we build trust when we communicate with them more. So I think the final thing is that we showcase success stories. So if you show how maybe someone is doing so well with AI upskilling and they come and talk to the organization, you'll find you'll encourage 2 or 3 other people to take it up as a challenge. So we also do that, and I've seen that the employees are thriving in this kind of situations.
So thanks so much for your contribution. Dennis, I'd like to come back to you. And really, as somebody leading digital transformation at Car in General, how do you ensure that teams across the board are reskilled and adapted to the new AI and data-driven tools? And then also, what structural and cultural shifts have been most important, which sometimes I think is actually even the more important aspect of this transition, right?
Thank you for that question. So we at Car in General, the first thing on ensuring that our employees are well skilled is we are doing tailored training. We have different employees from different departments, let's say finance, sales guys. You're able to give them a training on AI that best fits on their daily operations. What do they do on a daily? What do you do as a sales guy? How can AI become important to that? This is now where we adapt AI on the existing processes. That we have the existing processes that there's that fear from the employee, okay, AI may replace me, but on the processes that what you are doing currently, that is what we try to show you and train you that AI can become of use. Then you also use low-hanging fruits. For example, we are using Office 365. It comes with the Copilot from Microsoft. So that is something that, okay, this one can enhance my work as a finance guy. I'm able to do proper data analytics. As a salesperson, I'm able to read my emails from long time ago, and so such initiatives have become of use, and they are ensuring that our employees are well skilled. On the culture shift, one thing that we have been able to do well is adapt a data-driven culture. And this is what I said even on my first answer, that the first thing was to automate processes. Then ensuring we have automated processes, we have now a data-driven culture. This is where everyone knows that without proper data, AI will not work for us. Then on the structural changes, we're able to get a digital champion in each department, even the department that are not IT or tech savvy. Then that person is able to read the adoption of AI and the trainings program in that department.
Fantastic. So I'd like to come back to you, Victoria, and then looking at really intelligent systems that are automating certain decisions. What are the reskilling and upskilling initiatives you've had to implement at Kairana in order to support your workforce through this digital transition?
Thank you, Moses. So for us, implementing this intelligent system, we realize we are doing this to enable the people to work differently, think differently, and lead differently. So what we've done for us is to have digital enablement and involve the team while implementing the system. let ownership come from the team. So it's not a product that is forced on you. It's not a product that has come in to replace your work. It's not a product that has come in to take your role from you or deny you your job. It's a solution that we are bringing on board to make your work easier. So encouraging the team to own the process, including the implementation process, the decision making on what solutions we are going to implement, and even just empowering the team to learn, getting departmental champions like what my colleague here said they're doing at Kind General, getting champions who are going to be steering and owning the particular process for that department. For example, if it's the production department, there's somebody who's steering the production department, and when we are going into the implementation conversation, they feel involved and they're speaking on behalf of the entire department, and ensuring even when you're deploying the system on live environment that there's proper training, and just encouraging the team that data makes our work easier, and as opposed to it replacing what are our job, it makes our work easier, and it even helps us the cumbersome tasks that we have to keep doing daily, that having data and having systems do that for us, it makes it less cumbersome for us, and we can now focus on even exploring other ways of doing and making our work easier. The other strategy we put in place is allowing the team to be involved in the decision-making process while we are looking at processes to automate, and showing them that the benefits of automation, so they're involved in the conversation from the get-go. They own the process, and eventually it's very easy for them to have a buy-in in learning and adopt an uptake of the solutions we're putting in place.
Great. So I want to maybe come back to you, Dennis, and I think this is a question for all of you. I think you've talked very nicely about what you do to get people on board, but what are the challenges, what are the pain points to that? And I'm just wondering if sometimes change of this nature gets pushed back, and how do you deal with that? So maybe, Dennis, you can share with us your perspective.
First of all, the main challenge is, I think, employees fear that to be replaced. No one would like to get out of their job. And so there is that resistance that will come from the stakeholders. And then another challenge is also on the quality of data. We have the collect systems are collecting the collect data. How is the data structured? Are we able to use it to build on AI models? And these are some of the main challenges. And other challenges are also trying to pressure of quick adoption of AI. And you see that many of AI projects fail due to lack of proper foundation. So guys don't like to, okay, everyone, the CEO, the MD, anyone likes to, can we have AI here? But we have not done proper research, or we have not laid a good foundation.
So the pre-planning, right?
Yes, there's no pre-planning. And then the project end up failing. So these are some of the challenges, and how to mitigate them. For the employee resistance is that you have to have a good stakeholder engagement, even before adoption. That's why Victoria said that you ensure that the people feel part of it. Are they feeling part of the project, or you're just trying to bring it to them? Then on the data-driven one, we have also to ensure that our systems are modernized in a way that the data we get is able to build good AI models.
Okay. What about John? What about you from a BAT perspective? I mean, how do you deal with the challenge of people resisting the change or adopting the new ways of working? I know it's never a perfect road in these things. How do you cope with that? How do you deal with that?
So I think for me, my first challenge is actually getting the top leadership, sponsorship and executive support, because all this needs resources, needs budget. Yeah. So getting them in the journey early enough, making sure they are actually your champions in the functions, whether it's the FD for finance, the manufacturing director from operations, get them on board. Once you have them, it makes the journey 50% easier already. So you're able to drive the initiatives. I think the second one, and which is also related to this, is ownership. When we are running these AI initiatives or digital transformation projects, who is the owner? IT is an enabler. We make it very clear. We will support, we will provide the tools, but we need that ownership to come from the business. So if we get that right, already we are 75% in. And then lastly, there are some ethical concerns when it comes to driving AI in the organization. So we have to make sure that whatever we're implementing cannot be abused or will not give us fake data. Because garbage in, garbage out. whatever you do, you have to make sure that you're doing with accuracy and with the ethical, doing it ethically because of governance also. Yes, those are the three things.
No, I like that, the human in the loop. So don't leave everything to AI. Also verify, validate
Yes.
what's coming out of the systems.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What about you, Victoria? Again, we know when you talked about agribusiness, we know it's an area that is historically not very tech forward. Clearly, your organization is much more progressive than most, but I'm sure you get pushback as well, or you have challenges with deployment. What are the things that you see as some of the challenges you experience in your case?
Thank you, Moses, and very well put. We do get a lot of pushback, it being a legacy way or legacy agribusiness is
the industry, yeah,
the industry is legacy, it's traditional.
Yeah.
So just the buy-in, the trust in the system, just getting the users to trust the system. And in our digital transformation journey, it's been quite the challenge. You'd find that you've implemented a whole system that is working perfectly, but users still prefer to work manually and how they've been working. Also, it being a legacy business, you find that people who've been in the business, they've been there for ages and they do not understand this new way of working. It's been working like this for the last 30 years. Why do you want to change it? Why are you telling us to trust a system? Why are you telling us to trust data? And like what Joan said, we keep telling the users, garbage in, garbage out. This data, if you don't trust it, it's what you put in the system. And that is why part of our strategy has been to ownership of the system. Just letting the people own the process, the stakeholders from top management to the last person in the line, making sure they own the process and letting them understand what you put in is what you get out. So if you don't trust the system, that means even your manual way of working, you don't trust it because it is you who's working on the system. The system is only here to make work easier for you. So that has been the greatest challenge, stakeholder buy-in, but by and by, slowly by slowly, we've been able to tackle it, and now we are getting a lot of adoption into technology and even AI itself, and that users are able to trust the system to help them make decisions.
Great. So I'd like to come to our last question, which I'm going to pose to all of you individually. And in one sentence, what is the single most important thing that must happen now to ensure AI empowers rather than replaces Africa's industrial workforce? And I'd like to start with you, Dennis.
Okay, I think we have to look at our work skill and upskill the current skills into a AI adapted skills. This will ensure there's no challenges, there's no resistance, because everyone says this, that AI will not replace people, but people who use AI are going to replace them. So we have to ensure that our employees, our stakeholders are well skilled by continuous upskilling. That AI is not coming to do a replacement, but it's coming to do an augmentation. Like, we're going to adapt AI and work with AI this journey. So this one is very important. Let upskill our workforce in Africa. Thank you.
Great. I'd like to come back to you again, Joan. Just again, if I'm going to repeat the question, in one sentence or in a very brief description, what is the single most important thing that must happen now to ensure that AI empowers rather than replaces Africa's industrial workforce?
To encourage organizations that have not yet started the journey or are just starting, I can advise they start small. Start small, iterate, build the confidence in the organization, and once you have that skill, so that it's a journey, it's not a destination, yeah? So that's what I would advise organizations.
So basically start small and build up towards it.
Yes,
Fantastic.
Iterate, scale, yeah.
Great. And maybe coming back to you, Victoria, and again, I think your industry is one of the ones where industrialization or automation of your industry has been a very touchy issue within the space. I know that historically the tea trade and the industry, when we've tried to mechanize even the process of picking leaves, it's been a very political and sort of tricky issue. But therefore, I mean, what do you think is so important and vital in your space, which has historically been sort of resistant to automation or leveraging technology in different ways? What are the single most important things that you think you need to think about or consider going forward?
I think first and foremost in our industry, we need to have leaders and workers who are curious and adaptable. who are ready to learn and who are ready to accept that this is the new way of work and that things are changing. So we are ready to collaborate with technology. And I'm assuming if you get that part right, then eventually we'll be able to digitize our business, digitize the industry, and not only agribusiness at large. And eventually we are going to be able to unlock new ways of creating value for the agribusiness and manufacturing sector.
Great.
Yeah.
So I'll give you one last opportunity because we do have a little bit of time. In a minute or less, your parting shot, what would you like our audience to hear or see around this specific topic matter?
What I'd like our audience to hear and see is that as times are changing and when you're looking at where we're going to be in the future, we have to remain adaptable and we have to build for scalability. Start small, iterate, keep exploring, and eventually we'll be able to get there.
Great, thank you so much. What about you, Dennis? What's your parting shot?
Okay, my parting shot is we have to accept that AI is coming. Yes, there will be disruptions, and you have to accept these disruptions, but also we have to understand that it is not coming to replace the workforce, but there will be a lot of disruptions in the workforce, and we have to do it in a phased way. We should not rush to AI. Let's have it in a very well phased. We do proper pre-planning, and we love it. You'll get there.
Fantastic. Lastly, John, let's have your parting shot.
Foster a culture of collaboration. You cannot do this alone. We have to do it with all functions across the organization. So IT, it's not going to be seen as an IT project, but a business-led project here. So let's collaborate.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So Joan, Victoria, Dennis, thank you so much for your contributions. I think this is a session where one thing has been very clear, that I think AI is not the enemy. The enemy is an enabler. It's something that is going to enhance and improve productivity, improve the quality of the work within our industries. And I think it's going to become a more and more an important and fundamental aspect of manufacturing. I think also when you think about the renaissance of Africa's manufacturing sector, given that it's still so nascent compared to the rest of the world, I think AI is going to allow us, just like mobile technology, to leapfrog some of the constraints and issues we've had in the past, especially when it comes to sort of skilled labor and some of those roles that maybe are hard to fill currently. And I think ultimately what I'm hearing from all of you, it's about experimentation, it's about taking it in steps, it's about getting leadership from the top, and the IT or the technology function in the organization acting as the key enabler to make it all possible. So thank you very much for being part of this conversation. We hope you've gotten value from our very esteemed panelists, and we're delighted to have been here to have this conversation. And we hope to see that you'll get some value out of this in your own organizations going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our events don't just tell stories. They provide the ultimate immersive experience surrounding various critical topics that attract and engage the industry's most influential tech decision makers. Whether it's a corporate gathering, a grand celebration, or a virtual conference, DX5 orchestrates memorable experiences that leave lasting impressions. These interactive events allow attendees to hear from spectacular speakers, access world-class content, and network with peers. Our team is well-versed in the intricacies of tech events, understanding the unique challenges and opportunities that arise in this fast-paced industry. We bring a wealth of experience in managing events ranging from hackathons and startup showcases to international tech conferences. We take care of every detail, from initial planning to post-event analysis. Our comprehensive services cover venue selection, logistics, marketing, audio-visual setup, and everything in between. This allows you to focus on your core objectives while we handle the intricacies of event execution.
At DX5, we leverage the latest advancements in audiovisual technology, virtual reality, and interactive displays to enhance your events. Our team is dedicated to pushing boundaries and ensuring your event stands out in the tech landscape. Our talented team transforms ideas into reality through visual and auditory marvels. From video production to audio engineering, we set new standards for creativity as we provide quality services such as virtual events, virtual roundtables, webinars, podcasts, and studio shoots. We understand that each event is unique. Our experienced team works closely with you to understand your goals and tailor our services to meet your specific needs. Whether it's a product launch, conference, or networking event, we've got you covered. The heartbeat and hub of creativity.
Our creative design team, the maestros of aesthetics. From branding to graphic design, they weave visual stories that resonate with audiences, making brands memorable in a crowded market. From captivating presentations to interactive displays, we create visually stunning content that keeps your audience engaged and enhances the overall event experience. Our team seamlessly incorporates your brand elements into every design aspect, ensuring a consistent and memorable experience for your attendees. Our events don't just tell stories. They provide the ultimate immersive experience surrounding various critical topics that attract and engage the industry's most influential tech decision makers. Whether it's a corporate gathering, a grand celebration, or a virtual conference, DX5 orchestrates memorable experiences that leave lasting impressions. These interactive events allow attendees to hear from spectacular speakers, access world-class content, and network with peers. Our team is well-versed in the intricacies of tech events, understanding the unique challenges and opportunities that arise in this fast-paced industry. We bring a wealth of experience in managing events ranging from hackathons and startup showcases to international tech conferences. We take care of every detail, from initial planning to post-event analysis. Our comprehensive services cover venue selection, logistics, marketing, audio-visual setup, and everything in between. This allows you to focus on your core objectives while we handle the intricacies of event execution.
In today's rapidly evolving landscape, the success of any tech event hinges on its ability to seamlessly integrate the latest digital solutions. We understand the challenges you face in creating engaging, immersive, and technologically advanced experiences for your attendees. That's why we are excited to introduce our comprehensive suite of digital and online event services designed to elevate your events to new heights. Our digital and online services are at the forefront of the ever-evolving digital landscape. Our ever-fresh website is a one-stop shop for enterprise CIOs and business technology executives worldwide searching for unparalleled peer insight and expertise to remain on the cutting edge of business, tech, and leadership. From web development to content creation, we're crafting a seamless online presence for our clients, ensuring they stay ahead in the digital race. Understand what works and what can be improved to continually enhance the success of your tech events. Where innovation meets immersion in the digital realm.
Please welcome Head of Industry and Software at Schneider Electric, Peter Kamau.
So thank you. So in the wisdom of the organizers of this event, to tackle digitization as well as securing smart factories, they went for someone who is coming from an industry perspective, who's coming from the underbelly of how industries work, to be able to try and tackle this topic. So for me personally, I'm not a traditional IT person. Currently, I serve as the head of digital business at Schneider Electric in East Africa. Not traditionally from the IT space, but who's come into contact with cybersecurity, have had to face it, have had to build competence and experience around it, and hence inviting you to join me for this 20 minutes for an interesting journey discussing how we can secure smart factories and what kind of risks that they face from a cybersecurity, resilience, and a human element of it. So we'll have a few talking points as I take you through that journey. It's an interesting thought leadership piece, just bits and pieces of what that space looks like from an industry perspective, from the manufacturing background, what digitization looks like. Then from there, how do we tackle, one, the expanding cyber threats? For instance, what does that landscape look like when you're coming from a factory floor? What kind of real-time monitoring and predictive security measures that needs to be put in? What are the human elements to this conversation? As well as when we talk about zero trust, that's a conversation that we've had a lot on the IT space, but what does that look like in the industry space? As well as resilience in this entire industry. So that's what I'll try to tackle. And it's always a good place to start when you talk about what are the mega trends driving the trends. Ideally, what are we seeing in our world that is pushing all the massive acceleration of change in tech, especially when it comes to a manufacturing, from the manufacturing industry? And the first one is definitely urbanization. The need for energy and the need to serve a largely urbanizing population. That means more need for processed food, for instance, more need for manufactured products, and that is rapidly accelerating industry and the need for us to industrialize more. Most of all, especially in this part of the world, in Kenya and in Africa in general. Digitization and IoT, from the buzzword to what the actual implementation, what it actually looks like on the ground. Then from there, industrialization as well. How do all these trends affect industrialization? So, again, the digital evolution, and this has been a buzzword for quite some time now. But what does it in essence look like, especially when the rubber hits the road. What kind of business challenges are being tackled with these opportunities that we have with the digital innovations that are existing today? What are the use cases? What should industry leaders be looking at today when they're making their decisions on what kind of tech to deploy and how to deploy it? So when it comes to commodity prices and largely changing infrastructure in both the industrial space as well as the supply sector, logistics, global trans-border trade, the challenges that we have with trans-border trade as well, and that's even accelerating in the recent days with different tariffs, different parts of the world, embargoes and all that. Generational shifts. I don't need to overemphasize the Gen Z conversation in this. CapEx. Again, I always say that capital, in all the factors of production, capital is always the one element that needs to be courted, that always changes face depending on what the running condition is in the market. So how do you court capital to get into your process? Immediate ROI. So every investor wants an immediate return on their capital. So how do we start ensuring, one, the return on investment and ROI? Aging infrastructure, that is a very live need that we have, especially in our space, in this part of the world. So generally countries are coming into 60, 70 years of independence. The large boom of industrialization that took place immediately after. Now we are faced with massive aging infrastructure in our industrial development space, and that's a growing need that the market has today. Then market regulations as well, changing policy landscape. How do businesses, how do leaders leverage what they have, or rather what digital opportunities they have to tackle some of those challenges? Then we go to the buzzwords. And this is always interesting. When you start talking about IoT, big data, cloud, and in most cases when you hit the boardroom, there are times they do remain as such, as buzzwords. But how does the rubber meet the road? That's part of the conversation that we want to have today, and then tackle it with a cybersecurity perspective. So the digital transformations that we've been seeing responding to these digital opportunities have been, one, increases in efficiencies that are driven by big data-driven decisions, AI integration into manufacturing to try and speed up reliability and also to improve profitability, as well as using these same tools to ensure safety of the people working in those industries and the safety of the products that are also coming from these industries, as well as the big conversation now in the world, sustainability. How do we ensure that we are able to produce tomorrow? How do we decarbonize? That's another major talking point. So, and this is how sort of cybersecurity now starts to embed itself in this entire conversation. So as business leaders are solving these same challenges, as they are transforming their operational workflows, as they are transforming the factory floors, so then we are starting to see cyber threats becoming integrated into this entire infrastructure. So how is that landscape changing? So I want to present 5 integrations or disruption points that are, in essence, expanding the threat scope that we have in traditional industries. Ideally, 20 years ago, all you needed is to put on a switch and wait for a product on the other end. So today, we have energy integrated with automation. That means even from switching between different energy sources or managing how energy flows in an industry, you're integrating controllers, you're integrating devices that are communicating, that are connected, that now are part of the cyber threat landscape. Endpoint integration into cloud. So any IT professional will tell you that that's a conversation that they're having with their facilities. Whether do they want to keep their data at the edge, at the premise, or do they want to migrate it to the cloud? And once you start migrating that data to the cloud, what does it mean as a cyber threat? How do you secure that data? And of interest specifically in manufacturing and in industries, traditional IT needs to secure data, for instance. Largely, it's the security of data that you're dealing with, where that data is stored or whether it's accessible to you or not. With industries, there comes an extra capability, not just to lose that data, but to make far-reaching, harmful effects to process and people. So for instance, 10 years ago, a valve was just a valve. Today, it's a communicating device. That valve might be managing pressure for a critical element. So somebody interfering with the operation of that minor component might cause, a large explosion, for instance. Or today, because of cyber threats, you are able to, say, have massive interruptions to utility supply, whether it's power, water, whatever it is, gas, or whatever it is. So the convergence of IT and OT has brought in itself quite a large challenge to be able to secure that space. So real-time monitoring and predictive security. So that's the next part of this conversation. Because for you to have real-time control of your facility, that means you need real-time security for your facility. And on the OT side, on the manufacturing ground, you're talking about integrating different sources of energy. You're talking about your electricity, your water, different processes that are interacting with each other. You have controllers in all these processes that have continuous data flow. So you need to start thinking of securing that infrastructure at its core. And part of this is the what. What is being integrated into this? And part of the digital literacy that we really try to push leaders to get informed in is, what does that threat actually look like to me? So when I buy a processing line or an equipment and put it in my facility, what kind of a threat is it? So being able to analyze it and say, this is the level of risk that I've introduced into my process or factory. This is the possible failure points and possible challenges that can be introduced by a cyber threat, and then having a mitigation measure to be able to deal with it. So modern digital organizations must assume that they will be breached and operate from that perspective, that if we will be breached, then how do we defend ourselves? Again, also ensuring standard compliance. This is one major element that all leaders need to be thinking about. First of all, you have to be well informed of what those standards look like, even from a cybersecurity perspective, and then be able to pivot from them. The other big element is the human factor. So first of all, the awareness and culture. The biggest challenge that we face in industries is that as this cyber threat is being introduced into the factory floor, then the traditional, or rather the person or the people who are addressing this equipment are traditionally very far from the traditional IT expertise that you have in those organizations. So you have technicians, you have engineers who, for the better part of their lives, have never had to deal with cybersecurity as a challenge. But now today, we have to continually empower them, continually give them the right level of capacity in terms of knowledge, filling in knowledge gaps, so that they are able to take action. The other part is accountability. Also ensuring that within our organizations, we are able to assure, or rather to define, where the accountability for cybersecurity sits. Most of the time, this sits with the IT department, but mostly now, as you're integrating OT and IT, this continually needs to be a cross-organizational shared responsibility. So again, also giving the right people the right knowledge and also the right autonomy for them to be able to make the right decision. So think local, or rather act local, but with a global IT perspective for the industries that we have. So zero trust in architectures as a strategic imperative. So this is a long time, well-developed, I would say, culture or conversation in the IT space. When it comes to the OT space, how does that look like? So you have multiple layers of integrated devices today that are part of that cyber threat landscape, from very small actuators to factory-wide control systems, eventually to softwares that are offering apps analytics into that process, of eventually into your ERP, into decisions-making software elements that are integrated into the infrastructure. So first of all, a zero trust policy must ensure that every device that you integrate into your manufacturing process today, be it a server or a very mundane product or sensor into the facility, needs to be inherently cyber secure, or there is at the very least, a plan to achieve that. That means you have to factor in the manufacturers of this equipment, the OEMs that you choose, that for them to have cybersecurity in their own DNA, so that then they are able to be extensions to your infrastructure, and in again managing that risk. So greater efficiencies, lowering cost, more effective ROI will only be achieved from cyber secure systems. So again, resilience through ecosystem collaboration. So this is one of the biggest elements that we need to tackle today as an industry, because ideally, cybersecurity is such a big threat that you cannot master it by yourself. You have to integrate your entire value chain into that conversation, from the very supplier of your technology, that you're vetting the supplier of your technology to ensure that they are offering you cyber secure hardware or equipment, and that they have a culture to continually improve and make sure that even in the future, those bits of equipment are secure. Also, extending that into the landscape of integrators, suppliers, service providers, so that that entire value chain has the same thought process and is contributing to making cybersecurity a reality in the industries that we have today. And probably before I conclude, and ideally this is one of the areas that we've really tried to engage in as a company and as a value chain player in this market, is creating the awareness, creating the information availability, the opportunity to train, and the opportunity to also share with best practice across the world in our very market, and then being able to now extend that to the customers who we then supply, who we then serve, who happen to be the industries, who are then able to extend that to their own value chain. So that means keeping an ecosystem of system integrators and value chain players who are well informed, with the right level of information, and with an escalation matrix in case they have challenges that they cannot be able to solve themselves. So portfolio, extending the portfolio to include cybersecurity, empowering the ecosystem, the integration ecosystem, as well as creating enough flexibility in the inherent design of the solutions that we give, so that then cybersecurity is supported. So I want to conclude on this. So digital systems must be security systems as well. And cybersecurity will be the foundation of smart factories as we continue to build them. So today we are running into a reality of dark factories, ideally factories with no operators that are inherently connected. That means each and every component of that factory is talking, is giving some level of communication, and it is receiving instructions. Then you're building that on top. Then you're building on top of that an operational infrastructure for the business, and eventually a decision-making infrastructure for the management and leadership of these organizations. We need to think of cybersecurity inherently as we seek to digitize and to be smarter in the industry that we are in. So my parting shot, has come close to this, is that cybersecurity is foundational to smart manufacturing. We have to empower the people, secure our systems, and also build resilience, as well as have OEMs and value chain players who are leading the pathway in innovating and creating trust. Because at the base of it all, cybersecurity is all about trust. Do we trust the systems that we have? Do we trust the people that are working in those systems? And do we create avenues for that collaboration and that system resilience and continuity of these industries to happen? So for us, it's securing the process, securing the people, and also securing the technology. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Senior Data Scientist, Pathways International, Michelle Akinyi.
Good morning. I'm Michelle Akinyi. I'm a data scientist at Pathways International, and I'm very glad to be here and given an opportunity to speak about data. I'm happy the manufacturing sector has started the talk about data. In the recent past, data has been something like a byproduct, especially in most industry, and just to be specific, manufacturing, because today our focus is about manufacturing sector. I was happy the first panelist had talked about AI and data, and is it going to replace or interfere with our jobs? And I'm happy to say we are just innovative and making our work better and automating the processes. So our focus today is going to be about how to harness predictive analytics in order to drive production efficiency. So we're not trying to automate jobs, we are trying to create a synergy between the industries and the data so that we can have a good or an efficient production process. So what is predictive analytics from an analytics person? Our industry mostly plan on, when the year starts, you have something like a planning session. What are we going to do? And to be specific about manufacturing sectors, you can create something like a timetable when you are going to do the management of the systems. When do our systems need replacement? When do we need to process, or when do we need to change, something like that? So in the world of data, we are trying to use data to inform our decisions, not just making decisions without having something that is informing it. So predictive analytics is a branch of advanced analytics that uses historical data. For instance, when you have a machine, you already know when you always have downtime of that machine. You already know when you need replacement. So that is an historical data. So you use historical data, statistic algorithms, and machine learning techniques, where we continuously train machines to give information or to advise us on when to make a decision. So predictive analytics is use of historical data, current data, and machine learning techniques to predict future outcomes. So in the context of manufacturing, it plays a very significant role in driving operational efficiency. We can reduce downtime and also enhance product quality. So you achieve this by analyzing historical data. So I want to use 4 different use cases so that we can have and understand the process of all the advantages that we can have when we use predictive analytics, or to just be specifically say when you introduce data in your organization. Our panelists in the morning said they already introduced AI into their systems in order to drive decision and also to improve their work efficiency. So for instance, in the manufacturing sector, in the traditional ways, we could have technical team having to record when was their downtime, when did the system have deficiency. So in the current systems, we have this data that is recorded using management systems in the manufacturing sector that can make decisions faster and easier and efficient. So we've been having a problem in manually monitoring the processing time, the error, and also when these systems are reactive. So when you introduce predictive analytics in your organization, it allows for timely intervention, preventing unexpected equipment malfunctions, and also reducing the costs associated with unplanned downtime. A critical aspect of predictive maintenance is the integration of data from multiple sources. For instance, in the manufacturing sector, the plant can be big. It is an integration of different sources of information. So when you have multiple sources of information and integrate something like machine learning in your system, it aggregates data from various sources, and also it gives a comprehensive view of the manufacturing process. So one advantage of one key use cases of introducing predictive analytics is it reduces downtime. You can anticipate failure early to prevent unexpected breakdown and also to increase production running. You also lower maintenance costs. As a company, when you've already anticipated there's going to be a downtime, there will be a predetermined budget, and also because you're not making rash decisions, you've already had a plan and also a budget on time. So low maintenance costs enables timely and also targeted repairs, avoiding emergency fixes and also over maintenance. Because sometimes we are trying to move from the reactive. You have a downtime, then you get something to correct the mistakes. So when you prevent it, you're not making decision from an unknown perspective. You've already have existing data. You know maybe when downtime occurs. You know the budget that it takes, and so it lowers the maintenance costs, and also the lifespan of the equipment may be improved because fixing issues early reduces wear and tear, and also extending the machine life. There's higher efficiency. there's minimum disruptions because you've already scheduled the maintenance. My main point at the end of this is you've already understood these decisions are not coming from anywhere. You're making informed decisions, something we call proactive. We are not reacting to something that has already happened. We are proactive by making decisions using the data. So there's better quality and sustainability because you reduce defects and waste through early anomaly detection. So one specific use case that you can introduce in the manufacturing sector is demand forecasting. It relies heavily on historical data, on supply levels, so purchasing trends, consumer buying habits, and delivering condition. Demand forecasting is, you study the customer data. Yes, you do manufacturing, but there are these people who demand these products. So by demand forecasting, you're not producing that which is not going to be bought. You're making informed decisions by doing machine learning, by calculating the number of products manufactured. You can also forecast the possible sales and deliveries. You determine which items are out of stocks. And this information is based on the data that you've already collected from the systems. You can allocate resources and also plan budgets. So through demand forecasting, the managing partners can do informed decision making. It reduces costs, and also it allows you to only focus on what is important and also that which is sells. So as a machine learning engineer, my main role is to analyze data, to understand the patterns of an organization. For instance, when I'm in a manufacturing sector, I just don't produce a product. There is an informed decision or there is an action to what I'm responding to. This majorly relies on understanding and specifically studying the data. So I'm happy that manufacturing sectors have already introduced and talking about data at the center of their production. One other use case that you can use in manufacturing sector is product development strategy. The production development team can use predictive analytics to predict consumer preferences and future needs by analyzing product performance metrics, customer feedback, and conducting competitor analysis. Our main goal is always to make informed decisions. So you predict emerging trends by understanding and studying information that is available to you. You create a roadmap for product modernization, optimize product features to meet evolving customer needs, because you'll already have customer feedback, customer information, that when you're developing a product or creating a strategy optimization process, you understand and consider the customer needs. So you identify a new product timeline, so you're not making abrupt decisions. You're using data at the heart of your decision-making processes. Another use case is the supply chain management. Companies can use historical and real-time manufacturing data to manage the supply chain, optimize transportation, ensure on-time product delivery, and the predictive analytics can help you calculate the time required to build and ship every product. You can predict optimal shipping frequency and vehicle needs to deliver the products. You're not making decision, or you're not just saying, for me to deliver this product, I'll need 10 trucks on 10 cars. From what basis are you deciding? You're using the current data, the historical data. Maybe last week, you used 5 trucks. Maybe they took a longer time because you're considering time and effectiveness. So you predict optimal shipping frequency, and also direct and also redirect resources to speed up the slowdown deliveries. Analyze the impact of unplanned events such as strikes, weather conditions, accidents, or any other. You can also order reserve supplies and buffer stocks. So at the end of the day, the main point in the supply chain management is just efficiency and time management. You're not wasting resources, you're planning in advance. This is all possible by integrating machine learning and analytics into your own system. So you can optimize route to reduce overall transportation costs. So one specific use case is because we're talking about predictive analytics, is predictive maintenance. What is predictive maintenance? Predictive maintenance is the use of data-driven proactive maintenance. I want to insist on proactive maintenance rather than reactive maintenance. Reactive maintenance is you're reacting to what has already happened. But proactive maintenance is you've already planned. You've analyzed your data, you've studied, you've maybe created a machine learning algorithm that studies into your system and gives you informed decision. So it relies on real-time data. Nowadays, my previous speaker talked about Internet of Things, collecting information on real-time basis. So it gives you real-time feedback. You don't have to take a day or two because you've already created a machine learning that understands and goes into your systems and gives you an on-time feedback that you can react on. So you do proactive rather than reactive maintenance. This approach allows timely intervention, preventing unexpected equipment malfunction, and also reducing the costs associated with planned downtime. So at the end of the day, we are trying to have an efficient workflow and also have a productive or quality outcome at the end of the day. So just to talk about artificial intelligence, on how we can integrate artificial intelligence in our supply chain or in our systems, because it was a topic that the initial speakers talked about, and I'm glad they're the manufacturing sector. So we are understanding we all need an integration, or we need an entire ecosystem. We need people from the manufacturing sectors, we need the tech people, so that we can have a quality outcome at the end of the day. So artificial intelligence, it is a branch of computer science that mimic machine or human intelligence. You create systems that can work as Michelle. Now you don't have Michelle as a data scientist in your company, but you've integrated AI to create something that has recently been talked about, like agents, or creating generative AI into your systems. So in the manufacturing industry, AI is being used for a wide range of applications, just like we've mentioned. Predictive maintenance. All the use cases that I've mentioned here, we can use AI, or in the recent past, we've created something like agents. You want a predictive maintenance, you can create an AI that predicts machine failures and schedule maintenance. So I wouldn't want to wait to go and check from the data. There was a failure. Yes, there was a failure. What about it? You can create an agent that analyzes the system. When there is a failure, it informs the concerned party that there is a failure. So it schedules and goes ahead and schedule maintenance. And one recent past, we've talked about agentic AI, where many agents communicate with each other. The first agent is to check whether there is a failure. Yes, there is a failure. What about it? It goes ahead and schedule maintenance, where you've created a specific agent that its role only is to schedule maintenance. So when this system integrates and work well with each other, it reduces downtime and increases productivity. I guess at the end of the day, productivity and quality with efficiency is our end goal. So artificial intelligence can be, or rather we call it AI, can be used in the machine or in the manufacturing sector. Another way you can do quality control. All the other use cases that I've mentioned, you can integrate AI into it. So it can identify defects and quality issues in real time, enabling swift or corrective action. And it's a scary topic that is coming about. These AI are becoming quite, I can say, knowledgeable, because they're trained to do exactly what I can do or what you can do. So it can reason as a human being or mimic exactly what you can do. So you can use AI to do quality control. It can identify defects, quality issues in real time that enable swift and corrective action. If you want to optimize your supply chain, AI can analyze the supply chain data to predict demand, optimize inventory, and improve logistics. So as I end, my keynote is to say, we want to create an automation, not just automation, but we want a synergy between the industry, the systems, and data at the center of every decision that you make. Thank you.
Knowledge is power, and our research division is the cornerstone of innovation. We delve deep, analyze trends, and provide insights that empower our clients to make informed decisions, ensuring they stay ahead of the curve. Engage your audience like never before with our interactive technologies. From live polls and Q&A sessions to gamification elements, we can create a dynamic and participatory atmosphere that keeps attendees actively involved throughout the event.
Please welcome Senior Business Development Manager of West, Central and Southern Africa, Bisel Technologies Company Limited, Engineer Makinwa Aditoro.
Hello. Can we all hear me? Good morning, good afternoon.
Mike.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good day from...
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, so I'm happy to be here to speak about this very, very important topic, and I hope everyone here can learn something very important from this discussion. Thank you very much, the organizer, the CIO Africa, for the opportunity to speak at this forum. I'm Engineer Makinwa Aditoro, and I'm the Senior Business Development Manager for Bisel Technologies Limited. I cover the business in West, Central, and Southern Africa. Thank you very much, and let's quickly dive into the discussion. All right. Yes, so I think we all know the purpose and why we're here. We're talking about cloud, edge, and data, the invisible infrastructure behind the smart industry. So it will be good for us to put some perspective to this topic, to know where we started from and where we are at the moment. We've talked about different generation of industry, the industry 1.0. This is when mechanization actually started with water and steam engine. These are very, very old Paleolithic way of doing things. And we moved to the industry 2.0, where we started the mass production, electric power equipment, and assembly line. These are still very, very old method. And because of the advance in semiconductor technology, we moved to the industry 3.0, where we have the use of computer, automated production line, and advanced electronics equipment. And then now we're talking about industry 4.0, and we even talk about industry 5.0. Now we're talking of cyber physical system, Internet of Things, networking, machine learning, human-robot collaboration, cognitive systems, and customization. So this is where we are at the moment in the industry. So we've seen a lot of development over the years, and now we are looking at a system that is able to give us a very good performance, customer satisfaction, efficiency, utilization of resources, and also be able to maximize the cost and also help the organization on their return on investment. Yes. So let's lay a very good foundation to these topics. We have the cloud computing as a central infrastructure. Before now, industries have relied solely on remote, on maybe traditional data centers where they store their informations and be able to use them. So this is the foundation that has been going on. Now we have the remote data centers, which enable scalable processing and storage of global information So that means we have the traditional data center, and then we have the edge data centers. These are data centers that help in the processing of resources near very close to where the data is being generated. So this is what we meant by edge data centers. So this has really helped in reducing the latency. What we mean by latency is that's the round trip time for information to go back, to travel, and then to come back to where it's being used. This is very, very critical for industrial operations where you need immediate response. So the responsiveness of the equipment is really affected by the latency of how the data is processed and when the machine gets a response. So we also have data management. This is very, very critical in the sense that this is how organizations are able to see what is going on in the industry. They're able to analyze the data and also get some insight into what is going on, which help them in the decision making. So today we're talking about the cloud adoption. We're looking at 82% of industry 4.0 cloud adoption. So most of the industry 4.0 practitioners rely on cloud platform to power their industry as of 2024. So this is a very, very huge figure of number of people that are relying on cloud for their industry 4.0. Now we've seen that is not enough. So organizations are moving to edge. So just as I said earlier, the edge computing means that you need to host your data very close to the source or where they are being generated. So we're seeing that a massive shift from traditional data center to edge data center. So we expect that 29% of CAGR, and that is going to reach about 15 billion USD globally by 2026. So which is reflecting on the rising demand for near source processing. So that means organizations would prefer to store and process their data close to where they are being generated. So, and on daily basis, now we're seeing a very huge increase in the number of IoT devices. Today, we're talking of near 20 billion IoT devices worldwide. This is more than twice the number of people on Earth. So this requires a lot of storage, a lot of capacity in terms of processing, and then in terms of the latency of what this, how this will affect the industry. So this is just for us to have a background to what we're doing. So the smart industry, let's look at it. What does smart industry mean? So the the term smart industry refers to the use of technology to improve all aspects of industrial operation, meaning the manufacturing, the purchasing, logistics, the distribution, and customer relationship management. So we have Industry 4.0 plus Customer 4.0 will give us a smart industry. So, but Industry 4.0 will mean smart manufacturing solutions, and then that combines all aspects of manufacturing. Everything combined together means that you want to automate your process by use of autonomous robotics, artificial intelligence, industrial Internet of Things, and also you should be able to create a digital twins for your product. So this is what we mean by Industry 4.0. And then Customer 4.0 means that the customer expects more in this age. It's not the same customer that we have years back or when we're in Industry 3.0. They want a frictionless experience, plug and play, greater product variation, and personalized and even tailored solution. So this is what we expect from Customer 4.0. And the smart industry means we have more flexibility, more productivity, and more efficiency. So that is the customer, the output of this Industry 4.0 and the Customer 4.0 is that we expect to see a smart industry. So this is the global IoT market forecast in terms of connected devices. So we can see from 2018 and they're projected to up to 2030 here. Currently, we are around this area, which is like currently we're having around 20 billion connected devices. They use different connectivity type from wireless, cellular, wired, LPWA, different form of technology. So this means that we can see a massive increase in the number of connected devices, and this is going and it's growing every year, and we expect it to continue to grow because we see that this is the basis for the industrial automation, and this is the basis for the smart industry, that I don't have to physically go to my office. I can sit somewhere and be able to monitor the production line, see what is going on, and then the factory can go self-running without any human intervention in any way. So this will rely solely on the IoT devices because this is the foundation and the building block for the smart industry. So we can see the smart manufacturing size by region, and in terms of also the output. So we can see the from 2018 up to 2030. We can see this has continuously been on the rise, and for different regions from North America to Middle East and Africa, you can see the different, what each region is contributing and how each region is growing in terms of their smarter manufacturing. And this figure will continue to be on the rise and even beyond 2030. Yes, so this is the smart factory market size by solution as well. We can see we have the different, we have the MES, that's the manufacturing execution system, the SCADA, and the plant asset management, PAM, and industrial safety. Now we have a lot of chemicals, a lot of manufacturing line, the hazardous to human being. Before now, they will need human intervention, but now we can see that because of the smart industry, a lot of manufacturing line can go on now without human intervention. People don't have to go to some hazardous area again that they used to go to, and this has really reduced the number of industrial accidents that were recorded in the past, and also help in the safety of personnel that work in this kind of organization. So we can see the market size in terms of solution by MES, by SCADA, PAM, and industrial safety and others. So we look at the industrial connected ecosystem. So this means an intelligent ecosystem where all components are connected and controllable. So this process enhances the everything from energy efficiency, profitability, sustainability, and resource conservation. So when we talk about the smart industry, so that means we're looking at everything holistically. We're looking at the smart grid connected to smart services, smart workplace, smart mobility, smart logistic, smart home, and even a smart building and other. So this is essentially what is the smart industry means, that everything, all the process in the value chain are all connected together. And when we look at the manufacturing industry, today manufacturing industry is responsible to almost 20% of the world's GDP. So that means if we can, if we can improve more on this in terms of our efficiency, profitability, and also sustainability, this will lead to an increase in the GDP of the manufacturing industry for the whole world. So before now, the approach has been to make sure that the industries are connected to the traditional data center. We can see the outlook as well, how the global data center has grown from 2018 and the projection to up to 2030. And now we're seeing a massive shift to edge data center. And we're looking at even before 2030, there was most of the edge data center organization will prefer to host their data at the edge data center. And this is looking like around 74% of the data will be stored at edge data centers. Yeah, so let's look at the global edge data center outlook. to actually see what is driving the edge data center and what is driving the smart industry. So the continuous rise in adoption of IoT devices and the surge in demand for streamlined services, need for low latency network in healthcare industry and even in manufacturing industry, because you need the immediate uh, responsiveness of the equipment in the manufacturing industry. Immediately you send in a command, you should be able to get a response, and this is the foundation for smart industry. This a very high level of precision that is expected in the smart manufacturing industry. Everything has to work as planned, as scheduled, and for you to have a desired output. So one of the key drivers of edge data center is the continuous rise in adoption of IoT devices. As I said earlier, we have more than 20 billion IoT devices worldwide as of today. So this is more than twice the number of people that we have in the whole world. So, and these applications, they require low latency. So that means we have to make sure that whatever services or we're using is able to meet this regard. So this is where the manufacturing industry comes in. And this is the application that is most suited for the manufacturing industry, where we require low latency and the agile network. So current adoption in the landscape, we've seen that 68% of cloud adoption by manufacturers, and manufacturers primarily adopt cloud platforms, focusing on SaaS for analytic and IoT management. Leading sector that are embracing cloud include the automotive industry, the electronics industry, and chemical industry. They are leading cloud integration. We've seen hybrid cloud preference as well. 45% of users prefer to use hybrid cloud setup for enhanced security and flexibility. And also, we've seen that now edge computing is growing at a very massive rate, and we're saying that this is the importance, and that is why everybody is moving to edge because of the low latency and because of the low latency that we have, and because of the responsive time of the equipment that are used in the manufacturing industry. So we have AI-driven quality control system that is, we'll be able to achieve more in terms of quality control with the use of edge and by adoption of the smart industry. And then typical edge node count facility deploy, we have up to 25 to 75 edge node per plant around the world to support real-time monitoring and predictive maintenance. So you don't have to wait until when your factory or manufacturing line is down before you do anything. So we have a system that is able to predict when you need to do your maintenance. So this has really reduced downtime in the manufacturing sector and is able to increase the output and ultimately ensure that businesses are profitable. Yeah. So the key benefits of cloud and edge integration in the smart manufacturing industry is, number one, we have reduced latency. The edge computing diminishes processing latency up to 75%. So this is crucial for real-time control system. So you can get almost immediate response from machines and from production line and from factory equipment whenever you need to do this. The cost efficiency, yes, any business, cost is very, very important for any business. So cloud scalability lessens on-premises infrastructure and CAPEX by 35%, resulting in a total cost of ownership. Then we have improved data utilization. Integrated data platform enhance operational data analytics. So people are able to, scalability by, sorry about that. So enhance security. Security became a very major pro. So hybrid cloud and edge architecture minimize attack. So you're able to have improved security, and then things are able to deployment. Yes, we have a very quick time to it. That's rated implementation of digital twins and predictive maintenance system, but we have increased uptime because companies are able to do their maintenance as at when due. They don't have to wait until when there's a problem before they do anything. So this has really helped organizations to have a very good uptime for manufacturing line to run without any interruption. And we have integration offer dynamic scalability to the production level and effectively. So these are some of the we look at some of the infrastructure impact cases around the world that have adopted smart manufacturing. We have the General Electric predictive maintenance. So this deploy edge enable predictive maintenance around. This has reduced downtime by 20% and saving over 100 million annually. So this is a very, very massive saving for organization because just as I said, importance of predictive maintenance cannot be overemphasized. It gives you ample time to plan ahead and to rejig your system and to also look at what could be the problem in future, and we are able to do this before they bring down the whole system. We also have the Siemens Smart Factory. It's an hybrid cloud edge platform which optimizes energy use. It has achieved 15% savings in energy, and it has also offered 12% yield in electronics production. So this is a very good result, because when you look at it, if you are able to achieve 15% savings on your savings in terms of energy use today, energy is good. Almost all companies are cutting on their energy costs now, and if you can achieve 15% in terms of the energy consumption, then this is going to lower down the organization OPEX. We also have the BMW assembly line. This edge node integrated with cloud data for AI-driven quality inspection. This enables a 30% faster defect reduction, meaning that in the production line, they can quickly and easily detect any defect that is in the production line, and this has quickly helped the company. So when you have 30% faster defect detection, you mean that you can quickly detect the fault in the system and be able to resolve whatever problem you have in the organization. So I think my internet is acting up a bit. Just give me a moment to quickly clear this. Thank you.
Please welcome our Head of Content Africa, Carol Adero.
Are you ready for me? Hi everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for sticking around and thank you for joining us. Can I please invite James, Peter, Christine and Eric to join me on stage as we discuss the role of leadership in industrial transformation. So industrial transformation is basically when you move from manual to digital, from paper to digital, and from old school factory settings to high technology. And it's about shifting manufacturing and industrial operations from the traditional to something more modern that is driven by technology. So why the role of leadership? Well, someone needs to make the big decisions, and these are the people who help make those decisions or influence the decisions. You get buy-in from everyone, not just the powers that be, allocate the resources, which would be time, money, and people, set the vision, and remove the obstacles. So I would like you all to introduce yourselves, just tell us your name and your title, what do you do, and so let the audience get to know you just a little bit. I'll start with you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So my name is Peter Kama. I am head of industry business at Schneider Electric in East Africa, and quite happy to join you on stage today.
Thank you.
My name is James Muritu. I'm an IT director at Ban Manufacturing. I also run my own startup called ProGreen Innovations that deals with waste materials. Thanks.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Eric Wasike. I'm the IT manager at a company called East African Packaging Industries. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christine Murioki. I'm an IT business analyst with Diageo. I look after our African markets from a supply chain perspective.
Thank you for joining us. So I'll start with you, James. So you lead a sustainable innovation business, and you actually turn waste into treasure. How is it that you manage to transform the vision that you had into an operation that is actually scalable? And what were the leadership principles that informed this journey?
Yeah, thank you. Indeed, it's been a journey. Let me say that everything starts with an idea, a concept, but as a leader, you need to move beyond the idea. So I think for me, what it took is bravery and courage as well, just to move that idea beyond the original as it was. Beyond that, I think collaboration was very critical for me. You need to be very collaborative in nature, and just being able to pull in players, both internally and externally, and especially from a regulatory point of view, especially due to the nature of what we are trying to do. But more importantly, R&D was a very key component towards actualizing the idea, because with R&D, you're able to validate and verify what you're actually putting out in the market, and above it all, formulating a go-to-market strategy that works was more than important, thinking about the whole ecosystem.
Okay, and Peter, you seem like a well-traveled man, I would assume. How differently are African countries handling digital transformation from the rest of the globe? Are we that far off? Do we have to leapfrog quite substantially? How are we performing?
That's an interesting question, Carol. And I think for me, it stems from the original definition of what digitization is, and how different people perceive it. So in my case, I perceive it as the ability or the agility of an organization or a leader to be able to use innovation and tech to be able to deal with their emerging trends. So emerging trends are very custom to every market. They are very different in different spaces. So to build comparisons is to try and build comparisons between the different challenges across different markets. So digitization is actually one of those fields and spaces that require very particular use case to answer to your particular challenges. So how we've seen leaders in this space adopting to that fundamental question is probably one, the need to define your own use case and your own way of using tech, and that is primarily different from any other part of the world, meaning there is, in as much as you're transferring technology, there is some level of customization that needs to be done. And that's the appreciation that I think this market is sort of getting to. So what I would say with regards to how industry leaders in this space are answering that primary question is the coming to realization that global use cases are not in essence transferable and they need to come up with their own. So that's a space that we are actively sort of coming to the realization and getting to the top of. So I wouldn't say we are any better off or any further off than anywhere else in the world, because to start with the doomsday sort of metric is that almost 70% of all digitization projects fail. So I think learning and sort of arriving to the party a bit later means we arrive with more knowledge to be able to win and to be able to succeed even where others have failed. Thank you.
Okay, so then that brings me to you, Christine. You work with Diageo, and you know your supply chain is quite sophisticated, and do you find that you have to modify it depending on the market? And also, when you're working on analyzing it, what are some of the key indicators that you look at? What are some of the measuring metrics for success? Yeah.
Yes, we do pursue a federated approach to our digitization ambitions. By that I mean, we normally have a global strategy that we cascade to all our markets. However, in pursuit of that, we realize some markets have not achieved the readiness required for them to adopt the global technology strategy. So this is where we go out and look for similarly comparable solutions that are, number one, pocket friendly within the African context, especially because we really do have steep infrastructure requirements that we may not be able to meet from an African perspective. And so we really take care to align what we endeavor to do from a global perspective within the African context, but making sure that we are very aware of the various market nuances. So that's what we endeavor to achieve within Diageo, a federated IT strategy with full alignment to the market nuances and also our global strategy.
Eric, do you find that it's a challenge to talk to your superiors about the digital transformation challenges or opportunities or return on investment? And how do you get buy-in from them?
Okay, so for buy-in from your sponsors, more or less the business leaders, you primarily, first of all, need to make sure you align your solutions to their priorities. And in most cases, their priorities are driven by the business strategy. So you definitely have to make sure that when you're doing these presentations around digital transformation, they are framed as value drivers and not costs, because one of the things that business leaders don't like to hear is that you're adding costs on top of already the existing operation or operational expenses. So for buy-in, it's always important to involve the sponsors, but at the level where they appreciate the initiative that you're taking, and it's aligned to the overall business strategy, so that they can be able to accept it and adopt it because it benefits the business as a whole, and it's not just a pet project or something that's going to bring in cost without bringing additional business value.
Okay, I know we talk a lot about buy-in, and we always imagine that we are bringing in the board and the CEO and everybody on top, but we also have to bring in the staff. But there's another buy-in that we need, and that's from the market. So James, you came up with this turning waste to treasure kind of business model. What were the challenges you faced when you're trying to introduce green technology into the market?
Of course, adoption is a big thing to worry about. And especially when you are doing something that people are accustomed to, they only know of one way of doing it, then you come up with a totally new idea. So adoption was quite of a big challenge. And so for adoption to increase, then you have to do a lot of customer engagements, customer education. You need to involve all the users and customers holistically in the whole process. Beyond user adoption, I think, of course, the other very big challenge is regulatory. So from a regulatory point of view, of course, there are a lot of barriers to entry around that. So again, engaging the regulators and showing them the value of what you're trying to do, and just being positive rather than negative, because in Africa, we always have a very negative approach to regulators, and we always imagine they will stop and put a brake to everything we do. But what I've learned is, if you are positive in your approach, if you are engaging, they will listen to you, and you just need to collaborate and work together.
So how do you collaborate with the regulator?
Well, of course, compliance is key. There is no shortcut to compliance. You need to understand the compliance requirements and ensure you tick all the ticks that are required, and there is no shortcut to that. So, I mean, the only way to collaborate is just to ensure you're 100% compliant with their asks.
So, Peter, what are some of the most critical leadership skills or competencies that you need, to run manufacturing? Are they different from what you need to ensure digital transformation happens in other industries, or is there a certain skill that tips you over?
Given that it's a new trend, I would say from the experiences that we've had, that there are sort of two key points that I would want to highlight to that question. And the first one is digital fluency. And also building up on what my colleagues have said, especially when it comes to how difficult the digitization conversation usually is when you're at the board level. It's having leaders who have enough of a level of digital fluency to understand what digitization can do to them. And once you understand the value, then usually the implementation is the easier part. Defining the value is the key to this. The other part, the key skill that leaders need to focus on is also transforming their workforces. Creating the right competences that you need in your teams to ensure that adoption and use actually brings benefit to the entire company, and it does not end up in the 70% metric that we had spoken about earlier. Thank you.
Okay, and Christine, how do you shift the conversation to ensuring that the workforce is also bought into the idea of digital transformation? How have you done it? And what were some of the things that made you successful at it?
It is absolutely important to not only secure the buy-in of the holder of the money pass, but ultimately the end user of the solution. So how we endeavor to do that within Diageo, like my colleagues have said, the value of what we are trying to drive has to be absolutely clear within the minds of the users. And so what I have found is it is very important, in as much as we IT professionals have technical knowledge, it is absolutely important for us to understand the business processes that the technologies are enabling. Once we are able to demonstrate that we have full understanding of the underlying business process, then we'll be able to demonstrate ultimate value to the users. Whether it's enriching the jobs, whether it's making the output much faster, that's how we've managed to secure buy-in for the end users, and not just the project sponsor or whoever is ultimately funding the digital transformation journey.
Did you experience any kind of resistance in bringing them on board? And if so, how did you leverage your expertise, and how did you handle that?
Inevitably, there will always be some resistance. And this is where effective change management comes in. Change management should not only be pursued within the context of the project, it has to be an ongoing business conversation. And what we endeavor to do in Diageo, once we've exited the digital transformation journey, or we've exited a project's warranty, we go through the process of rigorous benefit realization model. So we consult the business case. This is what we promised to deliver from a benefit perspective to the business and to the users. How are we delivering on those promises? They really have to be measurable. And this is an ongoing conversation during the course of our normal BAU operations.
Okay, interesting. Christine talks about measuring impact. Eric, how did you demonstrate ROI to the investors and to the business? when you were talking about digital transformation, did you have to tell them, okay, these are the metrics for success, this is how I'll break it down to you, and I'll show you that we've succeeded, and this is what we've been able to achieve, including a timeline?
Yeah, so when you're doing any of these digital transformation projects...
Just a moment. Can you guys hear Eric?
You can hear me?
Okay, just speak up a bit.
Okay. So I was saying, when you're doing any of these digital transformation projects, and obviously you're pitching to the business, both the leaders and the end users, then definitely you have to make sure that you can track and show the business outcomes of the project and of the investment that's being made. And that definitely translates into a return on investment, which obviously for you to be able to demonstrate value, you have to have some measurable outcome. So for us, it was basically, we had promised that it will reduce certain costs or it will give us this competitive advantage. And if it translates into that, then we have to be able to show it either through a key performance indicator or a specific target, which you track on a scheduled basis, maybe monthly. So it just depends on the scope of the project. Or at the end of the project, you say that it's 30% reduction on waste. So it has to translate to that. Otherwise, the investment didn't make sense. Yes, so it's very key that you make sure that there is something measurable attached to that investment so that the return on investment actually materializes.
Okay, part of the challenge for manufacturing is that you have to balance growth versus sustainability. So how did you do that with ProGreen, James? And how much of a challenge was it for you?
Well, let me say that we are still a very young baby. We're only 1.5 years old. But as you've said, growth and sustainability go hand in hand. As much as you want to grow, sustainability is something you have to think about. And when you look at any manufacturer right now, not just in Africa, but across the world, they actually have a whole sustainability department. They actually have a whole sustainability resources. We're just looking at sustainability and nothing else. So for me, even as I'm driving the startup and growing, definitely as a lead and the CEO, I have to wear the sustainability hat. And sustainability is looking at the whole aspect of how do you balance your growth with the environment. So sustainability is looking at the environment, is looking at safety as well, is looking at good practices across the whole manufacturing environment. So it's a difficult thing to do because historically people have always looked at growth and profits and they've forgotten the sustainability side of the business. But I should say that for compliance purposes, also for good PR purposes, the two have to go hand in hand. And it's something we are learning and fine-tuning on a day-to-day basis, and also learning from my peers, because I interact a lot with other manufacturers who are applying sustainability in their manufacturing practices. So let me say that it's a growing thing. We are enriching ourselves. We are improving as we continue to, just push sustainability as much as growth is being pushed as well.
Okay, and Peter, how do you handle emerging technologies at Schneider Electric? Do you find that the training is a challenge, or do you find that, let's say that you have to integrate IoT and automation into what is existing right now? How do you train the team? How do you bring people on board? How do you get buy-in for that?
So as an OEM, I think I'll actually take your question more from how do we support our customers in the market to do exactly that. And for me, it's stemmed down from a simple equation. It's demand and supply. One, demand that the users need to understand the value and demand it, and then create the infrastructure that is necessary to be able to deliver it. So on one hand, it's telling the story. It's telling the full digitization end to end, so that customers and partners are able to see and define the value that they can be able to get from digitization. And then from there, creating the infrastructure in the overall ecosystem, whether it's from internal trainings, whether it is partner-led technology development and deployment, whether it's use cases that you pilot, so that then we are able to drive to be able to then satisfy that demand.
Okay. Christine, do you also approach it from the customer-first perspective when you're looking at digital transformation? Because it is assumed, or it is said, that digital transformation came about during COVID. It was accelerated primarily for customer satisfaction. Was that the case with Diageo and with reinventing the supply chain?
Absolutely. We always have our customers and consumers front of mind whenever we are pursuing any kind of digital transformation. And that really helps us narrow down, because the change of pace of innovation is very rapid. And so in order for us to focus on what will bring ultimate value to us as a business, we have to examine what is changing in the minds of our customers and consumers. And then based on that, then we'll be able to narrow down what will be required for us to do from a digitization perspective. Most of the time, we don't even really need to go out there and adopt all the fancy, shiny toys. It's just optimizing our business processes. And then based on that, then we'll be able to know what is absolutely essential for us. Another thing that we tend to leverage on as much as possible is so that we scale rapidly, is that we've implemented some dial-up behaviors, as we call it internally. We are externally curious. That means we leverage the data that's coming in through our internal systems. We run analytics on those and that will help us to run sentiment analysis of what our customers and consumers are saying about our products. And then based on that, then we'll be able to make informed decisions on the direction of the digitization journey that we are on.
Okay, and Eric, when you're trying to train your staff or when you're upskilling, do you find that you need to balance between upskilling and the actual work that is being done at the moment? Because upskilling is a continuous process. They need the skills now, but they also need them in the future. But the work needs to be getting done at the moment.
Yeah, so for that, we look at it in two ways. So you can do in-person trainings. Of course, you have to schedule them when it's a bit less busy. So we usually try and do them during the off-peak or the low season, just to make sure that we don't disrupt daily operations of business, because we're a factory that runs 24 hours, but when it's low season, we might do one shift. So you can take that opportunity to actually do some upskilling without interrupting the daily operations. Another approach is to use what we call the digital training platforms like Udemy for Business, so that people can do their own self-paced training at their own pace. Of course, it's something that you plan with your line manager or the person you report to, so they give you like a learning path, and obviously it might be tied to your KPIs, so you'll review the progress, but without disrupting your day-to-day work, so you upskill at your own pace as well. So those are the two main approaches that we use to actually empower our employees without disrupting their day-to-day work, and obviously enabling them to grow career-wise based on those trainings and the training methods that we use or approaches.
Okay, so I'm going to watch the clock for 5 seconds and give you guys time to think about this. What is the future of manufacturing? Okay, time is up. Who wants to go first? Yes, James.
Yeah, I think let's look back at the journey of manufacturing before we look at the future, so that we can follow the pattern. So if you look at where manufacturing began, you had the 1.0 era, which was all about mechanization and steam engines. Then you had 2.0, which was about mass production, and you also have assembly lines. Then you went to 3.0, which was more about electronics, computers, ERP systems as well. And then now we are going to 4.0, 5.0, which is, actually we are at 4.0 right now. And it's more about robotics, you're talking about AI, you're talking about IoT, and a lot of things. So right now, what you're looking at is the interconnection of all these technologies, blockchain. And I think the future, in my view, what it's going to do is just to accelerate the interconnection that we have in Industry 4.0. So from robotics to blockchain to 3D printing, I think the future will be all these coming together almost into one ecosystem. Because right now, for 4.0, they are still isolated. So for one manufacturer, you might be using blockchain for counterfeit management. You might be using 3D printing for modeling. You might be using big data for data. So there's a bit of isolation in the current model. But the future, in my view, will see a seamless connection of all these utilities and components that we currently have. So it will really, the future will really leverage on what we already have and just take it more advanced, and especially within the AI space. Because right now, a lot of automations that we're seeing are playing within the AI and robotics space. Yeah, I think.
What would break the silos that exist now between technologies? What would break the silos in the future that is not happening now?
Yeah, I think it will all be broken down by the technology itself. So we are leveraging a lot on the internet, cloud computing especially. So I think technology will play a big role in breaking those silos. So how cheap will cloud computing be? Because right now, one of the big hindrances for a lot of manufacturers is trying to look at the cost of cloud computing. Somebody says, it's not an option for me to spend XYZ $1,000 on AWS, for example. So I think as the cost of technology goes down, then definitely we'll see more interconnection and more adoption of things that people are currently viewing as expensive or nice to have.
Okay, Christine, I see you nodding vigorously. I know you agree with everything he said. Tell me something else.
In addition to the insight that James has provided on how we got to mechanization to Industry 4.0 to date, what we are seeing right now is the convergence of the networks in the factory floor, what we call as operating technology or OT, and the enterprise layer of the IT landscape. So the enterprise layer will be your CRMs, your ERP systems. Traditionally, those have always been kept separate. And as a result, we've really had to expand ourselves when it comes to getting data out of the OT part of the technology stack into the IT part of the technology stack. And what now we'll be seeing in future is the PLCs on the factory floor. The PLCs are the computers that run the actual machines. The PLCs will actually be speaking to what we have on the enterprise layer. All that data will be integrated into one source. And then analytics, data science will be done to generate insights. And then based on that, the future of manufacturing will look like producing what the market needs precisely and anticipating those needs even before the market is aware of what they need, precisely because of the rich analytic elements that we'll have access to in the future.
Okay, you seem ready. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. It's good to come after those two speakers, because then it's easy to build up on top of what they've said. James has taken us through that journey from the past to where we are. And I think looking forward, then we have to appreciate the mega trends that are affecting the world today, because eventually those are the ones that dictate either where capital goes or where investment in time goes. And for instance, today logistics and cross-border trade is becoming a real challenge. One occurrence in the world today means a completely different business environment tomorrow, whether it's in moving goods or in just simply being able to sell them. So we were anticipating that reshoring which is ideally where industries are moving from the bulk mega production spaces, especially in China and the East, and back closer to where the products are being consumed. That is being accelerated today by those mega trends. So, for instance, in the future, and also building up what has been said, is that efficiency and agility in production is a must. So that is where the capital will go to be able to fund and to increase those products to come to market. So today, customers may be struggling with getting information from the OT systems. Today, OEMs such as Schneider are working at integrating that in the inherent product itself, so that tomorrow that is not a challenge. So having leaders who are educated well enough, have enough information on the digital transformation space to be able to anticipate that and be able to make the organizations ready will ideally be the ones who will win tomorrow.
Okay. Eric? Going last sometimes has its challenges, but I'm ready to be wowed.
Yeah, so I just recap what the rest of the guys have said. So for me, I'm also looking at it in terms of the knowledge worker. So the shop floor, as you know, currently most of those guys are considered what we call blue-collar workers. So there will be a shift in that as well, especially with the upskilling which you spoke to previously. So you will see a lot of them more equipped in terms of that knowledge base and working with those technologies that are obviously disrupting the manufacturing space and will continue to do so in the near future. And obviously augmenting that now with the AI technologies where you have your agents, your assistants, just to do the heavy lifting, and the guys to do some of the more imaginative, creative aspects of that shop floor production line work. And also in terms of the analytics that Christine spoke to, it will really open up that space in terms of a competitive advantage. So whoever has the most refined, the most well-defined data and insights will probably be able to have the edge in the market in terms of the products they can offer, at what price, and in terms of even like logistics, supply chain disruptions, you'd be able to manage those a lot better. And of course, as we saw with COVID, and as we've seen with some of these abrupt wars like the Ukraine one, the issues at the Red Sea, you'd be able to manage those much better with the technologies that Industry 4.0 has been able to avail to us. So I'm really seeing a future whereby things will obviously be much improved. There will also be more empowered workers in terms of the skill sets that they'll have.
Okay, thank you for that context. So just to wind up, I'll ask each one of you the best piece of advice you've gotten, but with a twist. Christine, what's the best piece of advice you've gotten this year?
You learn things by actually doing them. As a business analyst, we are trained to collect as much data as possible because that will inform the ultimate decision maker to pursue a go, no-go decision. But the best piece of advice I've gotten from my bosses is decide with the least data possible, and then iterate and move on from there.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good advice. Eric, when you became IT manager, what's the best piece of advice you got?
So my mentor used to tell me, first things first.
What would be the first thing?
So essentially what he used to allude to was that when you're working on tasks, just try and get those things that you can get done quickly, just out of your way, and then now focus on the more difficult, more tasking stuff after that, because your mind, at least the brain juices are now running, and you can tackle them much better when you do the first things first.
So like get operations out of the way and then think creatively, this kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay, James, when you were starting Pro Green Innovations, what was the worst piece of advice someone gave you?
Yeah, I mean, I got this advice from many people, and I was told, what you're trying is not possible. I mean, I was told by many, it's not possible. There's a lot of discouragements. But anyway, on a positive note, I think the best piece of advice that came through was to think iteratively. So what I mean by iteratively is in your execution approach, have several iterations. And for each iteration, be very clear on what you want to achieve. And that way, what you're trying to do is you dissect the problem into small pieces rather than trying to dissect the whole piece. So that has really helped us. So currently at ProGreen, we actually have 3 products. And for each of those products, the way we've delivered them is each of them has a separate iteration with a totally separate team. So you get results from iteration 1 before you go to iteration 2. So that brings about some agility, and you're able to scale with that product. So I think for me, that's the best kind of advice that I got from a fellow industry leader that I will not name, but that has really helped us. Yeah.
And Peter, what's the best piece of advice you've gotten from your CEO, Ifeanyi Odo?
Interesting, yes. So, and especially in the digitization conversation, so I'll domicile it there. So a lot of time and effort is wasted on the bells and whistles. That thinking of the technology, on what is the best technology out there, even before making a use case decision. So one of the best pieces of advice that I got was forget the technology, focus on the use case, and once you define that idea, find the easiest way to collide that idea with reality, or rather the cheapest way to collide that idea with reality. And then from there, you get a winning idea.
All right, thank you guys. I think we're out of time. And thank you for sitting through this conversation on the role of leadership in industrial transformation. We can see that you guys are influencing the right people in the right ways. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Please welcome CEO, Robotex International, Nathan Metsala.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great privilege to welcome you all at the Smart Industry Conference. My name is Nathan Metsala, and I am the CEO of Robotex International. It is my pleasure to greet you this fine afternoon around 10,000 kilometers away from Tallinn, Estonia. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you in person today. This was due to scheduling conflicts. However, it's a great privilege and an honor to be with you today here. And today I want to tell you a little bit about building the future with robotics and how this all ties together with industry. One moment. Yeah. I want to start by going over a brief history of where we've come from and how robotics is tied into manufacturing in the past. Because in the beginning of the 20th century, we saw how robotics has completely revolutionized things like assembly line manufacturing, and has created something like precision upgrading, which has enabled us as mankind to create mass production in fields like electronics. In addition, robotics has enabled us to create composite shapes. So we can create now complex shapes that are not possible with human hands or welding or so forth and so on. But robotics has enabled us to do this. So what are the latest trends we see worldwide is, well, we see the usage of humanoids in factory floors. We see for substitute tasks for human beings. Warehouses use a lot of humanoids, especially in, let's say, more adaptable industry and more adapt and kind of newer companies and manufacturing kind of pieces. We also see MoMAs, so mobile manipulators. Companies use MoMAs for a wide array of things. You can use the same manipulator and same robot in various ways by just attaching it or making it mobile. So instead of attaching it to one workplace, we can kind of make it mobile and use it everywhere, right? The same kind of thing is with cobots and, let's say, combining MoMAs and cobots. So you can kind of put an emphasis on human and robot cooperation with cobots. And if you use a MoMA for a cobot, well, then in that case, you can use the same robot in various positions and in various cooperations as well, right? It's a question of technical programming and setup, but it's doable. And it's interesting because it creates this new dynamic between robots and humans. Another very popular thing is our digital twins. So we model everything virtually before we actually launch it in scale on site, right? It makes planning processes and budgeting a lot easier. And this is something very incredible that we are seeing take storm in the world. And a lot of research is focused on that as well. And of course, the latest, most popular trend is the usage of AI. I have a friend who was even a manufacturing worker at a steel plant and decided to learn AI tools in order to set up machine milling and machine manufacturing a little quicker. And just because of his own methodologies, he was promoted to an engineer, later to lead engineer of the whole factory and plant, simply by using AI tools and kind of learning how the ins and outs of how to implement AI in a manufacturing setting. And he does incredible work just using AI. So this is something that it's very worthwhile to use and learn, because AI will revolutionize the world. It gives you new ideas which you don't really often consider yourself. Makes you humble, makes you understand that you might not know everything. And so AI is a great tool and a great friend in manufacturing. But I want to jump a little bit towards my side of the planet, and I want to tell you why Estonia is significant in industry, in manufacturing, and everything. Here you can see where we are located on the globe. But Estonia has a 1.7 billion turnover in tech sector every year. That's quite big for a country with a population of 1.5 million people. It's a small, tiny country, but this has given us a lot of benefits because we have a heavy cooperation between research groups and industry professionals. We have very strong public sector support and lobby for technology. So the government very much supports industry. And we are a pioneer in IT solutions, and we have e-governance in all sectors. The only thing you cannot do online in Estonia is get divorced. And the reason is that a judge wants to see you face to face if you're doing such a life-altering decision. Everything else, from registering birth, marriage, and everything else, you can do just online. You don't even need to go anywhere. And 20% of our population has a master's degree. All of this combined with the small size makes us a very good country to bring forth innovation, because really working solutions come up top way quicker than non-working solutions. If anything goes wrong, everybody knows about it. The media writes about it. If you speak about publicly something that, look, we've created this innovative technology that promises to, I don't know, cure cancer, tomorrow everyone will know if it works or not. And if it doesn't work, everyone knows that it won't work. The same logic applies to solutions that actually work. So therefore, truth comes out very quickly, and we can create solutions and that work very well, and therefore we can innovate very quickly. And this is something that is very significant in Estonia. And this is why we are at the forefront of technology and technological adaptability as well. We're also the land of unicorns. So Estonia is the birthplace of global tech brands, even though thanks to or due to our small size, we've created companies such as Bolt, Wise, Nortal, Helmes, Milrem, and you can see their valuations and their kind of industry sectors, and you can Google all of them. Bolt, I know, is very operational in Nairobi as well. When I was visiting Nairobi, I used Bolt. It was very comfortable. So it's, as you can see, we contribute a lot to the world, even though we are small. And there are more unicorns on the way. We're very heavy on the startup industry as well. We have a lot of recent years have been very focused on military technology due to the war in Ukraine, which has also impacted us and our society a lot. So these kind of tech solutions and innovative solutions are taking the world by storm. And we're very honored that our country is at the center of most of these things. So Estonian smart industry is something that's very, very cool, because as the previous panelists spoke very well, that we part of what we do is we use database decision making. So when you actually do get some feedback, as the previous panelist just said, in some sector or some step in your process, manufacturing process, then we quickly take that information and then process it and kind of adapt as necessary. This agile workflow has kind of created for us a very, again, innovative setting, right? And this has kind of enabled us to apply Industry 5.0 principles, meaning that XR implementation and engineering creativity all are basically very common in Estonia. Digital twinning was just a topic in research groups, I'd say 3-4 years ago. Today, most manufacturers actually talk about it and use it to some scale. It's the same with AI, and engineering creativity is praised. This is something very interesting because we have, as a country, we have a fairly flat power structure, and this has also come across to our companies' policies, which means that companies and CEOs and board of directors actually listen to engineers, and they actually listen to not only engineering managers, but if you have a creative solutions that actually benefits the entire company as a whole, your ideas are listened to and noticed as well. So it's a kind of a landscape where good ideas are praised instead of something like rank, and it's created a lot of worth and a lot of value for us. And of course, there's easy to use approach to manufacturing. So industry collaborates a lot with university and higher education institutes. So when you graduate from university, you've kind of already been familiarized with the methodologies and the work that most manufacturing industries actually do. So university actually prepares people for real life, and that's something that's incredibly useful and incredibly valuable as well. In addition, speaking about universities, we are also a pioneer in academia. Caltech University, where our office is currently located at, is on the world ranking number 621, and the University of Tartu, which is one of the oldest universities in Europe, is ranked number 358 in the world, so top 1% university. Research focuses on the following sectors on both universities. So there's soft robotics, self-driving and automation, AI, fundamentals and power electronics, as well as sustainability, and XR industry applications, as well as space technologies. XR is cool because we have separate labs and designated areas where students and PhD students and industry members can come and kind of innovate and create these awesome projects and cooperations in order to benefit actual industry. And space technologies is cool because again, the small size of the country makes us very adaptable to innovation. And space needs a lot of innovation. You can't really sit around. I myself did my master's in robotics with a specialization of space technologies, and it's a very kind of hands-on, you work with what you get type of environment. And Estonia is a great place for that specifically. In addition, we are the pioneers in creating European space law right now. So soon, the entire Europe will be implementing legislation for space technologies that is made in Estonia. So that's very cool. But all of that will lead later to manufacturing as well and industry. A little bit about robotics and who we are and what ties into kind of why this matters in the building of the future. So robotics is the largest robotics competition series in the world. As of 2024, we are now the global leader, where last year we had in 17 different countries 120,000 engineers participating in on our festivals. So we are the next biggest technology movement globally. This year, we're expecting to again press forward on those numbers and make headway and become even bigger. We have a lot of cooperations and a lot of cool things coming and in stored. And what we do directly feeds into the needs of industry. So we are contributing to the global engineering space. We're providing outlets to both universities and high schools, and we're driving public interest and youth interest to engineering and manufacturing. Engineering can become this sort of unnoticed pillar of society where everyone talks about doctors and teachers, but without engineers, we're all basically, you can't really do anything. So engineering is one of the pillars of modern society, and it's our job to make sure that that pillar doesn't go unnoticed and that it has enough capability and enough workforce. Because there is a global lack of engineering specialists, especially when it comes to manufacturing industry. Estonia is facing a crisis where we don't really have welders anymore, for instance, and welding specialists in engineering, nor in just hands-on practical welders. So it's something that's we're trying to solve, right? But in addition to all of these things, we're also displaying the latest technology and scientific research at festivals globally. And this is a way for the general public to kind of become aware of what are the latest manufacturing trends, what are the latest industry trends, what's going on in the world of technology, how things are created. And most importantly, because we work with students between the ages of 5 to 25 and above, we have everything from kindergartners to PhD students at various competitions, at various levels, at various skill levels. We tie all of it together in a festival setting with a very positive emotion. So the young populace leaves a robotics festival with a positive emotion, regardless whether or not they actually won a competition or not. And the competitions are fierce in nature. So they need to solve engineering challenges. And when solving all of these challenges, then they have they've actually obtained skills. And these skills and these thought processes that they obtain by competing are the most valuable things that they actually get. So they leave happy, regardless whether or not they won. They leave more educated. And what's most important, they leave with a positive association of good emotion and engineering. So in the future, when they need to make a career choice, say after high school, even in university, they heavily lean towards the technology sector. We've seen this work wonders in Estonia as well as abroad globally. And that's why we're taking the world by storm, because young people are garnering towards engineering thanks to us. And we want to keep going with that. So in terms of industry significance, why what we do matters for all of you is that we're securing the future of engineering. And we're creating a baseline capability. As we become larger and larger, and as our mission grows, it is our job to create this ABC robotics that becomes common knowledge among the youth and the next generation. So if you think about the older generation, let's say 50 and above, they all use smartphones, but the way they use smartphones is not as near as fast as the generation in their 20s and 30s. That's not to say that they're not capable. It's just, we all know it's much harder to learn later in life than it is earlier in life. And young people adapt quicker. Once you go above a certain threshold in age, adaptability just becomes harder. That's human nature. There's nothing we can do about that. So what we aim to create is the same effect where smartphones and technology capability has kind of risen in young people. We want ABC, robotics, electronics, IT, and manufacturing as well to become very commonplace knowledge, so that young people everywhere around the world just kind of walk around and they not only know how to use technology, but they understand how the back end of it works. This creates transparency, adaptability, availability, all of these bright new ideas. And sharing this knowledge at a very low price is something that we very much want to do. And it is my sincere pleasure to announce that in May, I was in Nairobi, and we officially signed an MOU with CIO Africa, who is the host of this wonderful event, and Milton, CIO as well. Here you can see me and a co-founder of CIO Africa, Andrew, as well as their production manager, Dan, with the Estonian ambassador, Daniel Scheer. And it is our ambition and goal to bring a Robotex festival, Robotex Africa, to Africa next year in 2026, in line with this very same conference. So next year, you will be able to attend a Robotex festival when you come to a smart industry conference as well. And it will be revolutionary. We're also, one of the aims of Robotex is accessibility. So compared to our competitors, we are setting a very low price of entry for students and participants, ensuring very high accessibility from all over the world. This is also one of the things that we've been praised for globally, as well as we don't limit our usage of technology and robotics kits to certain models, but rather you can use what you want as long as it fits the kind of criteria of the rules, right? So we're very heavy on innovation with a low price, and that's what we want to kind of teach the young generation, that look, if you think right and you find the right tools, you can create incredible solutions, right? That's what we want to do for Africa as well. And we're also partnering with the United Nations in Kenya in order to ensure this accessibility comes from all households as well. So it is my sincere pleasure to announce Robotex Africa for 2026. So be on the lookout for that via the CIO Africa channels. We will also be in contact with industries as well as schools, the ministries, and so forth and so on. So with that, I want to say asante, thank you, and we are very happy and we look forward to see you in Nairobi in 2026. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening maybe, some people in different parts of the world. It's been a good day, I believe. I hope that all the presentations were relevant to your work. My name is Hari Hare. I work here at CIO Africa. So we've had many conversations today, you know, from cybersecurity to talent to industrial IoT. Yeah, you've gone through, you know, we've had really good speakers who've taken us through what is happening in the world today around the smart industry. So it's been interesting. You know, I've been sitting here just listening to some of the speakers, and you know, there's a lot happening. A lot of stuff is happening. within the Industry 4.0 smart industry space. Today I had an interesting, a new term actually, Customer 4.0. I didn't know about that, but it's interesting to hear that we are also moving towards a Customer 4.0, where we now look at the customer as a central part of that whole value chain. So very, very interesting conversations. And we keep bringing these conversations because we believe it's important. It's important for you to be abreast of what is happening around you. It's important so that you can start looking at these technologies and start thinking, how do these technologies, how do these trends actually affect our business? How do we bring these technologies? How do we bring these trends into our workflow? That's why we do these things. So really, really excited to hear all the speakers, and thank you so much for joining in and for staying in until now. So we have a few announcements that I wanted to make. We have some events coming up, you know, in the next quarter and also the quarter after that. First, of course, is if my team can help me with the slides. Should I look here or should I look there? Okay. So we have SmartGov. This is a technology summit that we curated specifically for government or government agencies. So SmartGov is coming up. It's gone off. Okay. This will be. Please just run back the slide again. I can't see it. Okay. Okay, so we have Smart Government coming up. That will be in Nairobi on the 16th of July. So please, if this is of interest to you, we want to encourage you to sign up for it. We also have the same event, but focused on the Nigerian market. That will be in September, 11th of September. This will be in Lagos. So please, you can look out for that. Then we have smart banking. If this is the area that of interest, please look out for smart banking coming up after that. And we're actually combining all the BFSI events because we realized the conversations are almost the same. And the people are also similar, and there's a lot of cross-pollination between the different events. So smart banking, the SACCO forum, and also InsurTech. So we are combining those in what we're calling the BFSI week, which brings the three big events around the financial services sector. So please look out for that. That's on the 6th and 7th of August here in Nairobi. Then we have the future of technology, which is our CIO 100 event. I'm sure a lot of you know about CIO 100. So it's, I don't know. If there's anybody who doesn't know about CIO 100, please write an email to me, and I'll try and explain it to you. CIO 100 is coming up on the 19th to the 21st of November. So as you know, CIO 100 is a culmination of a research project that we normally carry out, where you apply to be recognized, and that process has already begun. So we want to encourage every one of you to apply. The link is the link, the QR code is there. So you can scan the QR code and it will take you to the page where you put in your application. This process is very rigorous, and this year we have partnered with More Global. It's a global audit company who will be helping us to do the adjudication and also pick the winners out of all the applications that are coming in. We've already seen some of the trends, and we're seeing a very strong field from Nigeria, which is awesome. We are also seeing very strong entries from Rwanda and South Africa. But we want to encourage everybody to apply from wherever you are. This is an Africa event. It's an Africa award. So please apply, and let's recognize some of the work you're doing. And the CIO 100 looks at your project. So we measure the effectiveness of your project. So we look at why did you think about the project? How did you do it? Did you get a return on investment, or are you seeing return on investment? What technology did you use? So we're looking at some of the decisions you made based on the project. And then, we have a benchmark that looks at all that, and then we rank the top 100. So please, don't miss this out. I'll give you a secret. For the last 17 years that we have done this event, we have seen that every CIO of the year which comes out of this either gets a promotion or they get a better job somewhere. Oh, don't say that to your boss. But yes, they get a better job somewhere. So it's an event. It's a research. It's an award that you actually want to have in your resume. Then, of course, we continue to write, and we thank you for your support. Please continue subscribing to our magazine. Please read what we say. Tell us your ideas. Give us your ideas. Feedback. Give us feedback as well. We like to have feedback from you based on the stories that we do. Because generally, honestly speaking, we are a content company. We do all these other things, but our stronghold is content. And we want to write content that is useful to you. So please give us feedback, read the articles that we write, either on the website or in the magazine, so that we can serve you better. And with those few remarks, I want to, again, thank you very much for staying on until now. I think you should clap for yourself. Virtual claps, please. I want to thank all our speakers, panelists, for spending time with us and sharing their insights in this new format, which I actually like it. We haven't done virtual events in a while, so I think this might become a thing. Of course, Melissa doesn't believe we should be doing this. She wants to eat food in the hotel, but again, yeah, we will see. So thank you for being part of this, for the speakers, for the team for putting this together, Caro and the team for putting this together, and our production team, which has been awesome. So thank you very much, and have a good afternoon.
DX5, we leverage the latest advancements in audiovisual technology, virtual reality, and interactive displays to enhance your events. Our team is dedicated to pushing boundaries and ensuring your event stands out in the tech landscape. Our talented team transforms ideas into reality through visual and auditory marvels. From video production to audio engineering, we set new standards for creativity as we provide quality services such as virtual events, virtual roundtables, webinars, podcasts, and studio shoots. We understand that each event is unique. Our experienced team works closely with you to understand your goals and tailor our services to meet your specific needs. Whether it's a product launch, conference, or networking event, we've got you covered. The heartbeat and hub of creativity.